The question is your project must become commercially viable within a reasonable time of 4 to 5 years. And for that reason, it was stated, and even at the Hyderabad airport, airport authority had to forego its own airfield for the commercial reason, because otherwise the new airport would not have become commercially viable, Hyderabad airport also. Here also, sir, Goa requires a new airport, but question of thinking of, because whatever the reasons you may have, dual airport will be sustainable? No. Because if you go even by the capital investment, which will be today of the order of 5,000 crores, even serving the capital, for serving the capital you require 700 crores revenue per year. And your present revenue at the Goa airport from landing is not more than 4 to 5 crores per month. Gap is too much to bridge. That is the only way. If that thing, if you, as far as capital is concerned, the state government gives or the central government gives, and you bring as a third party only to run the airport. And that actually, if you go to the crux of the problem of the Goa has never been able to find a third party for Mopa, because it is commercially non-viable. And if you bring in the question of Dabolim will continue, my first question is, how will you decide which airline will go to Dabolim and which will go to the Mopa?
Absolutely. That's a good point.
How will you decide that? You have to have transparency. Which present airline would like to move to the Mopa?
We already said about that.
Huh? That's it. No, hey, you can answer, but my question is, if Goa requires a civil airport, purely civil airport, but then some people have to sacrifice, irrespective of that. You find the suitable land, plain land, and the land should be such, because where you should depend on the aeronautical revenue, 40%, and the land should be able to generate 60% non-aeronautical revenue. That is the site you have to select for it if you want a third party participation. Thank you.
Mr. Rao? 1 second, Mr. Mr. Rao, would you agree with what Mr. Khurana is saying?
Yes, sir, I fully agree. Because we have seen what has happened to Bangalore, Hyderabad. In fact, even if you try to offer other airports, which government did try in handing over other airports for privatization, we did not meet with success. In fact, even after sufficient capital investment by the government to make it attractive, still other airports could not be done. Delhi, Bombay could be done. Bangalore and Hyderabad in that order could be done. Okay. So Bangalore also, which is today making 12 million passengers, there are people who say for short haul flights and all, let it go. It is a question of one man's food is another man's poison, like the airlines would come up with their difficulty. Airports will also have their own difficulty. In case if you have to manage 2 airports, it is not economically feasible.
Mr. Riker wanted to add a few things.
I have my own doubts now, because these gentlemen are contradicting their own terms. One thing, they say that it is not feasible, it is not right tabletop or this tabletop. I am not an expert on that. But at the same time, if that be so, how come that other report which says that it is feasible has come up? That means you people are, your own colleagues are compromising our safety. Your own people are compromising our own, see, these are some certain things which I don't understand, because your own colleagues are coming out with a report saying that it is a right place.
I doubt it with the airport authority. I only said it is feasible.
No. I have, see, that is the reason now, there is a confusion with my own mind now, what is right and what is wrong.
Mr. Riker, I would like to add another thing.
No, I'll just complete with this what this gentleman has said now. First initially he said one thing, now he is totally changing his viewpoint.
Sorry, sir. I don't think I have contradicted my point.
No,
First, when I was asked specific question whether the dual airports are possible, no. Even now I have reinforced the same statement. Dual airports are not feasible in Goa. I don't think I have contradicted.
But Mr. Riker.
And second aspect
of the safety.
you said that third party was never available to Goa. When was the third party asked for in Goa? You tell me this.
Now I don't
when
want
you,
to.
when you have not gone for
yes,
anybody.
sir, I know that thing.
Then
I can give you
so
also
why did you
private.
make this
No, no.
statement?
I can give you a privately the report because that was when I was in the government. I was dealing with it. I won't like to specify at the public forum.
Vito, you had a few points.
Mr. Raikar, another question. Just imagine that Mopa Airport, as per you, is the viable solution. Have you thought about the environmental concerns which we will have? I don't think so, because you have a greenery there, because there is a vegetation, because the pollution of the aircraft, takeoff of landing. Do we have thought about having a proper universities in terms of, let me tell you that, I've been running around for the last 2.5 years to have an university in Goa to build our youngsters to work in aviation. And till today, I'm still struggling.
Thank you. You have good news.
Thank you.
We are already tied up with a university in UK. Dr. Purnanand Savaikar is today signing the document in UK. Okay, and that thing will start, and our students, our Goans, will be trained in this thing. Will be ready by the time the new airport comes.
But that's good news. But what is this training about?
About all the different facets which are required for an airport functioning, different facets, right from your maintenance part to the, there are various facets, not one.
Is one enough?
No, I'm telling you various facets. I'm not talking of one. We are talking about all.
No, I think let's just put this debate in perspective. What we are getting at here is various people very strong views, and that's good because that's what the debate is supposed to be about. However, the decision to Mopa and Dabolim, I still reiterate this one point, may not necessarily be with the state. It might end up being with the center. And that is very important to understand that bit, that the center controls the future to Mopa and Dabolim, which is why politically all parties have been supporting the advent of the Mopa airport. Now the question is not whether Dabolim or Mopa, is it viable? It is pretty evident that both cannot function together. Whatever anybody says, I would like to throw a challenge even to this government to show that it can function viably. The point is, we need one airport. We desperately need a good airport. The existing Dabolim airport is very limited in its services, and to cater to a growing tourism market, which over the next 5 to 10 years, Mr. Reichel, will touch 8 million to 10 million tourists, you do need a good airport. There is no denial of that. The fact is, will the existing new terminal, if the Navy relaxes itself, be sufficient? The answer to me, to the best of my aviation and tourism knowledge, is yes. Could be yes, right? But the Navy is not doing that. So in lieu of that fact, we are going about setting up a new airport, which is going to be huge, humongous investment, which at the end of the day, while you are saying we are creating jobs for the local Goans, which I do agree we should, how many of the local Goans do you think will have that kind of jobs at the airport at this point of time when it will be ready? Will we have that kind of workforce for it? There's also another fact that people have been talking about, that the whole airport thing seems to be a real estate game. But that I'm going to leave to the second debate, which my friend is going to take it. But the point is, let's come to a conclusion. Can two airports sustain itself in Goa? Yes. According to you?
Absolutely yes.
What about you?
No, sir.
No. I think the debate is sidelining the fact that in the new millennia, it's the movement of goods is such a critical issue. Absolutely. Yes, it's such a critical issue, and Goa is highly disadvantaged in the terms of rail, even in the term of ports and road. 1 minute. That's one thing. And as far as the central government is concerned, as far as I can think, I don't think they're interested in Mopa. They can easily go to Sindhudurg. Right? The fact is that at Dabolim we only looked at passenger traffic because that was paying. We have not looked at the whole system of goods, Goa is totally deficient in a containerization system. You're depending on some of the ports, you know. So Goa will always have that disadvantage, which is not fair to Goa. And this issue is also to be considered in the debate. We should not look at all this emotionally.
Is it not true, Mr. Ribeiro, that the Ministry of Civil Aviation and the Airports Authority of India, when looking at the cargo market across India and the international markets, which is currently growing by 1% per year, they had identified to create Nagpur as a cargo hub in Nagpur, and they are looking at different states to create smaller cargo hubs. Now, the fact that it needs to be a cargo hub is not what I'm denying. I'm saying there is an opportunity in it. The question is, to what extent is that opportunity? We have never been able to understand that because there's never been a feasibility or viability study considered on either of these facts.
If you are aware of it, then you will agree that one of the corner of this export hub could be from Goa. And that is the reason why we are promoting this, because there is no place where we could start this.
Let me tell you, the most of the airports around the world, I'll give you 2 airports, you know, which are very close to the port also. The transportation from the airport to the cargo should be the shortest. Now we have Marmagoa port is one of the best in the world, which 365 days a year it's open for traffic.
So we'll need to round up this particular debate to get into the next. The 2 gentlemen have been very clear in what their opinion is. So have you, sir. Mr. Ribeiro, what are your last thoughts in the entire issue?
No, I've got no views. As I said, ultimately, whatever state feels, our job is to not doodle with files and write, but with the pencil we try and find the point of least resistance. And these are all national level hubs which we are really looking at. And the question is, can Goa gain from it or lose from it is an issue. Whether you gain from 2 hubs, 1 hub, partial hub. But the fact, according to me, that is what my view is, asking the Navy or any defense establishment to move is just kite flying. You will never succeed. You look at it, there is Bagdogra, there is Jodhpur, there are so many of these. They are not going to.
Eventually what would happen, sir? Eventually what you're saying, that there could be a possibility if Mopa comes around, that at some point of time, maybe the Navy wants Mopa back, as in Dabolim back. Would that be a situation?
If they can prove it's a defense priority, you can't beat them. What do you do? Exactly. But they are not going to do that because they also get a certain revenue out of the whole stuff.
Well, I still feel there is a lot of room to maneuver in the Dabolim airport, whether it is cargo, whether it is, you know, traffic higher than what we have today, 8 million, 9 million. We do have a proper set of logistics to be, you know, worked on. I would say that the expertise we could bring in, we could evaluate it and see how we can move around.
Please keep your emotions besides and have rationalism. That will give you the answer.
All right. I'd like to close this debate on one thought, that the Dabolim Mopa Conundrum still continues because there are varied views, and that's how the debate continues to go forward. Thank you very much, sirs.